Hello everyone, in this movie I will show you how to install Android radio on BMW E63. So this is the radio unit, and if you're gonna look for units like that, the E60, E61 and E63, they are basically the same units. So you can buy any of those and install this on this car. So this will give you a lot of benefits. You will have access to the old iDrive plus the new one, which is much more advanced, which is Android with option to install any application, most of the applications, maybe not all, but most of applications from Android market. You got GPS navigation, which is like on the full screen, which is pretty good and more advanced than original BMW. You have to keep in mind that this car was released years ago, so that's a good update. So anyway, let's go with installation. So what you will need definitely is a plastic tools, because without that you can make a lot of scratches. So this car have chrome finishing, so by placing any metal parts you can easily damage it. So keep in mind to use something that doesn't damage your car. So the first step that we're gonna do is gonna be to remove the screen. So we have to remove those two screws on both ends, and this will allow the screen to fall down. Now the next step will be to disconnect this connector. So you pushing the inside of it and then sliding this block above it, and the next one you just pulling it out, and this will release the screen. Also you have to remove but this is like, I think, obvious, the wire loop from those holders. So after this is gone, we have to put the plastic tool, lift up this unit on the both ends, pull it out, and then on the bottom you will have connector. Sorry, there is a connector which goes here. So we have to disconnect it. This is this one. So let's go there. We have to release it. Next step is to remove these two screws on those ends. Now with those two screws gone, we have to put the tool and again lift up this unit away. Now when you've managed to release the panel, there are three connectors which you have to disconnect. This one, and that one. To show you those connectors, to release this one, you pressing this on the middle and then sliding this above to release it. This is exactly the same with this one. So you pressing this and then it will allow you to release it. With the last one, you see the connector looks like that. You have to squeeze the both ends and this will allow you to release it. So with connectors gone, we have to remove those two screws. So it's gonna be this one, and that one. Now with these four screws gone, we can gently remove the radio. Now what we need to do is disconnect this connector. It's hard for me to hold it and point it, but you have to disconnect the two connectors above the fan, one below, and then the big connector which is over here, which is the actual wire loop. There is one more here. So they are two below the fan, two above the fan, and one over there. So it's just, when you disconnect this, try to look for like here, here, you have to press it and release it. And this, you have to squeeze those two, this push up, and this will allow you to release the connector. So now, with radio removed, we need to decide what we're gonna connect to the car. So definitely it's gonna be GPS antenna. Definitely we will need USB cables. Now this car have reverse camera, but sadly that's reverse camera which we cannot really use, because we will need to drill the holes in the car to install it, because it looks like that. So if you're planning to buy camera for this car, I would recommend to use camera which you install on registration plates. So in this case you remove one of the bulb for registration plates, add this camera over there, and you don't have to drill any holes. So in this case we're not gonna install the camera. So what we're gonna do, we will install GPS antenna and USB ports. USB ports will go to the glove box, GPS antenna will go over there. So we will start from GPS antenna, we will add this there and then provide the wiring over there below the steering wheel, and it will jump over there. So let's start. So I put the GPS antenna, then squeeze the wiring around, go down. There are 3 screws that you have to remove to put this down. It's this one, that one, and then the third one, which is here. With those screws, you can just pull it down, it will go down. You can then put the wiring for GPS, which will go through under the steering wheel, and then you have to aim to put it out on the top shell where the radio unit will be installed. So this is our GPS antenna done. Now the next step will be the USB cables. So this will go to the glove box. From what I can see, there is like a wire already there. So from here, I don't know if you can see it, but I can clearly see the glove box, which means that I will put the wiring over there. So this will be my USB cables, and again it's gonna go to the top one because this is where the radio unit is called, the main wiring loop. So with this radio unit, one USB cable goes with all those video connections and audio connections, and the second one, sadly, it's connected to the main wire loop. So what you have to do then, put this connector, you see the bottom one, which is going to the radio unit, like not Android but the actual car radio unit. So you're placing this down, and those wires you have to put up, with the exception of the one which is USB, because you're gonna push this there. So those wires you have to transfer them over here, then on the side of the vents to the top. The USB you putting over there, and here is gonna be just the main connector. That's all. One more thing which I need to mention: when you're adding those cables, keep in mind that here all those walls have to be empty from the wirings, because this is where the unit will go through. So if you will try to put any wiring here and just get this somehow through the holes over there just to get this easier, you might actually cut the wires. So all wiring have to go behind this, and then you're taking this up or on the side. Don't put any wiring through those holes, because like I said, you will add the radio unit and you're just gonna cut them off. So as you can see, on the bottom, only thing which I got is the main wire loop. On the top I got GPS antenna, I have connector where the other side is going to the USB, and then this is remaining of the main connector which goes up. All the wirings which you're not gonna use, I would recommend to keep them together, and just, it's gonna be easier for you later on to work with them. And the wiring, what I've done, I put this on the edge, but I push this on side a little bit, so when I'm gonna add the ventilation, then it's not gonna get trapped in it, so it's not gonna cause any issues. So put this slightly away on the both ends. This is my GPS antenna, just slightly away, and everything will be cool. So because I'm not gonna use those, I will put them over there away, so they're not gonna cause any issues. And now what I'm gonna do is connect the main connector to the radio unit. Now keep in mind, if your car has CD changer, then you will have green optical connector. You have to disconnect this and connect this to the main connector, which will go to the radio. And keep in mind also to make this in the same way. So if this connector is the last connector, use this here as a last connector as well, and then it will work. Now when you have your optic fiber connector here, you have to release, this one. Yeah, this is the one. You have to release the old connector and connect this to the adapter, which will transmit everything over here, and the new one will go to the radio unit, this one. Now with all those connections solved, we can put the original adapter further, because we're not gonna use it, and this have to be pushed away, and then make the connections for the new connector, plus everything as we had before. So the blue to the blue, black like that to the black. I never disconnected this one, but it's fine. So we're just putting everything together back, and then sliding unit back into the car, and then add those 4 screws. Now with radio unit back, what we have to do is add the panel back and connect all those connectors. Keep in mind that you have to first release it. Is it released? No, released was the other way around. first you have to release it before you're gonna connect this, because if you will try to connect this with a closed stage, you can just break the connectors. So make sure that they are all released and then put the unit back. With unit back in place, we are adding those 2 screws, and then this unit is solved. Next step, we are adding back our vents. So we have to connect the connector which goes to the where is it, here, this one, and then just slide this back. Now with the units back in place, what we have to do is connect the actual radio and test if it works. So for this radio, from what I can see, we will use not many connectors, to be honest, only 4. The 4th one will be this one. So this is the 4th connector, and then we will have to use the ground which comes with it, and this will have to go on top of this connector, so I will show in a sec. So you can see that this connector is connected here, and then the ground is on top of it. There is another connector, the GPS antenna, and the final connector. You see, this one you're not gonna use. Keep in mind, you're not gonna use this one. Sadly, you're gonna get also error messages on the car if you will do diagnostics saying that car cannot connect with the screen. So don't worry about that. That's fine. That's not a problem. Now this connector is quite far, so I'm not gonna show you how to connect this, but it's just easy sliding in. So this one you connect this way. This one you just adding this in. The GPS antenna, you tightening the screw which is below, and then the final connector, and let's see if it works. So guys, as you can see, everything works fine. It's brilliant. Yeah, so this is it. To be honest, the biggest challenge which I had was actually putting back the screen. There was not much space behind it, so I had to put all the wiring in the corner and try to fit in everything back. So it was not easy. I did manage, so I'm happy with it. So yeah, so that was the installation of Android radio on BMW E63. I hope this movie was useful for you. Thank you for watching, and as always, I wish you a good day.